Okay, I titled this Who's Esme Bianco? Because I was talking about Evan Roll to Wood so much, but I do think that Esme Bianco, the lady from Game of Thrones, the actress, is really hurting the accusations because she is the less believable of all of them. This is what happened with Esme. This is who Esme is. They met through Manson's ex-wife, Dita Von Teese. Esme was a fetish model and a burlesque dancer and a fetish performer, which that entitles to a lot of things. She could be like, doing this very classy burlesque performance like the ones that Dita does, or it could be something completely different. And I'm not bashing none of those things, okay? Because it could be very artistic and fun, and I think it's okay that she did that. The problem is that when you're trying to blame somebody for things that have been in your personality and the core of who you are for years and years, and it wasn't his fault. It's nobody's fault. It's just who you are. And she's been doing this type of work since 2004. She's not 19. She wasn't 19 when she met him, like Evan Rocha Wood. She was on her 30s. Okay. And they met when he was still married, so nothing happened. Then after he was married, he was with Evan Rocha Wood. So then again, with Esme, nothing happened. Around 2010, he proposed to her kind of like, hey, I'm doing this video. I think you'd be good for it, type of thing. I hope there's emails on that or messages on that, because that's just going to bite her on the butt if they are emails going back and forth from Manson and her. And all he did was tell her that, I like your work. I think you'd be good for the video. This is, if anything, something flattering and something that actors go through it. You're good for it, you're not good for it, or you're cool, I think you'd be cool for it. There's nothing really so perverse and so morbid and dark about it. I don't think by that time she was plotting all this. That's more of an Amber Heard situation. I don't think Esme Bianco was plotting all this until she saw what the attention that Evan Rocha Wood was getting. And then she was like, oh, yeah, well, I'm just going to turn the past and something that happened with my ex-boyfriend into something nefarious and disgusting and a nightmare just because attention and because she just wants money. As Marilyn Manson attorney finally came out and said something last week. So this is pretty new. The accusations are not new, but the fact that his lawyer finally talked and said that this is all about money. It's a civil lawsuit, not a criminal lawsuit. So that shows you that she's not having any weight on any of this. So this is what Rolling Stones, I don't know Rolling Stones magazine anymore, like why they do this, like they seem to be a lot on their side, and against Manson and against Johnny. And I don't know if it's a thing because they're scared of being against women or what is the deal, but there seem to be on that side a lot. So in Rolling Stones on April 30th, which was last week, she, Esme Bianco, actress of Game of Thrones, and I don't know what else, but for sure Game of Thrones, which is an awesome show, and her character was pretty awesome. So I'm not saying that, but yeah, known for Game of Thrones. The allegations alone are so harmful that they're not factual. The article is called Marilyn Manson sued for sexual abuse, sex trafficking, Game of Thrones, sex trafficking. Okay, sex trafficking, human trafficking, whatever you want to say it. It's just like, again, I said it before, that is like the lowest of the lowest that she even will say that, because it is so hard to prove. But it's also so hard to prove that he didn't do it. But it's hard to prove that he did it, both things. I mean, it's just ridiculous to even bring something so silly up when it wasn't human trafficking. It was like what I said. He said, hey, I want you for this video. I think it would be cool. You want to come over? It's simple. It seems so much more simpler than make it sound like. So she actually suing him for getting hired to part of the movie, and it never actually took place. And she calls that human trafficking. The movie never took place because sometimes things in Hollywood fall down the cracks, and sometimes they don't take place. She is saying that it was under the pretense of making the movie, but he never had the intention of making the movie. And Manson has been having the intention of making this movie for at least 10 or 12 years. Phantasmagoria, the movie about Lewis Carroll that wrote Alice in Wonderland. He's been talking about this thing for years. This is not something that he created or he invented with the pretense to harm any actress. This is something that he really wanted to do. It fell down the cracks. It just, that happens here. It happened. She's using that against him too. The fact that the movie was never made. So I'm not exactly sure what the definition that she's looking for when she says human trafficking. It's not a good word. That people need to be careful with just throwing that out there. But anyway, so I'm just going to read it straight from Rolling Stone thingy because it's easier this way. So yeah, she is suing Marilyn Manson and the former manager, Tony Kula. She's suing both of them because why not, right? Even if the manager dropped him. But she's suing the manager too. Alleging the singer raped and sexually battered her. The complaint filed Friday. Last week, United States District Court of Central District of California also claims that Manson, Brad Warner, and Kula's management company violated human trafficking laws by bringing her from London to LA under the pretense that she will be acting in a music video that never came out and a film that was never made. Okay, the music video never came out. It's a song called I Wanna Kill You Like They Do in the Movies. For whatever reason, the video never came out. Then they finished the video. He didn't think about finishing the video with somebody else. Whatever, he jumped into something else. That is not a reason for her to say that it was a pretense and it was a made-up thing just to, with the purpose of harming her. Again, things fall through the cracks, and it didn't get made. That's the way I see it. The way a lot of people see it. So the British actress who played Ross on the hit on Game of Thrones was one of the dozen women to speak out against shock rocker early this year. See, even Rolling Stones magazine is so on her side. It's ridiculous. Just like the way they word things, and they should be more neutral about it. I mean, not be on his side either, but kind of be in the middle. Anyway, in February, she detailed allegation of abuse esteem for her relationship with Warner when they were a couple, because they were a couple in 2011. She added fresh claims. Yeah, of course, she's going to add something fresh. What she said on the Phoenix Act video that she's giving her testimony, that was like bad. If we're going to believe it happened, it was really bad if we believe it happened. But she added more stuff because I think that she sees that people online are not believing what she's saying. So she's like, well, it's just going to add more things to it. Let's just put some glitter around it and make it even more messed up than it is, and let's see who believes it. I still don't. I don't care what she adds to it. The fact that she's adding things to it is even less believable, because you will think that she will say anything during her testimony in 2018. Why she's adding things to it now? She's adding things to it now because she's filing now, finally. And I'm actually glad that she's filing, and it's like moved from Instagram to the court. Guess this is going to give him, his team, the chance to fight this off. You can't fight it on Instagram, but in court, yes, you can. Then I think that he will prevail. And it might take 2 years. Who knows? I mean, it might take a bit. So yeah, she fresh claims. The complaint marks the first legal action against Warner. First ever. Because this guy has no legal thing against him before. Like Amber Heard had domestic violence, she got arrested. Nothing. He is everything that you want to call him, whatever. He doesn't have one thing on his record besides people saying, oh, this shouldn't happen because it was his fault. This happened is his fault. But it's all very vague. He was never in jail. He was never detained for any of this. He doesn't have a past with any of this besides his drug addiction, which is not something that people should bank on and being biased about him just because he happens to be an addict, which I think is what's going to happen. And it's sad, but I think that's what's going to happen. Because that's kind of what happened with Johnny in the UK. We all talk about Johnny's and the wine and the whiskey and all that instead of like focusing on that he did this or not. So she said Mr. Warner used drugs, force, and threats of force to coerce sexual acts against me on multiple occasions. The lawsuit says that Mr. Warner raped Miss I don't want to say the word, but raped Bianco in or around May 2011. So in or around. So she doesn't have the date, which I guess if we're realistic, if you really got abused, rape, or whatever, and it's so traumatizing, I don't think you're gonna have the date on top of your head. But I think it's a mistake for her lawyer or whoever wrote this to say in or around, because it makes it sound really vague, like, oh, maybe it happened, maybe it didn't. In or around May 2011. It goes on to claim that Warner committed sexual acts with Bianco at times when she was unconscious or unable to consent, and lists the ways that she claims that he battered her. These acts include spanking, biting, cutting, whipping her buttocks, so her butt, her breast, genitals, all for his sexual gratification. Let's remember that I was telling you that she was a bondage actress and a fetish model, and there's videos of her online spanking people. So let's just keep that in mind. I'm not saying that people that are in that industry cannot get raped. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that it's more on her past that is on his when it comes to this. And when she acts like she doesn't know what any of these things are and what was happening to her body, I call it BS, because she was working as a fetish model and a burlesque dancer when they met 15 years ago. So I don't, this is why it's hard for me to believe her. I wish I can, but I can't. And that is something that I struggle with it. I don't want to just sit here and make fun of women left and right, but it happens to be kind of the trend these days, just to sue guys for things that they didn't do, and something that it was a 1%, something they did, and make it into something super big. And you are the victim, so you're getting all this attention and the followers. And Esme is so weird that she, even on her Instagram, she has, like you can have the bio, you have like a link to your last movie or the link to your website. If you're Lana Del Rey, you have your link to your last album. What she has under her name, it says domestic violence survivor. Before this actress, it says survivor. Like, that's like, she really just identifies with that. Before she's an actress, now she's a domestic violence survivor. Before, a couple years ago, it just says actress. Anyway, and the link was to Game of Thrones. Now the link that she's putting on her Instagram, on her bio, under her name, is to thecut.com, which is the interview that she made when she talks about all the stuff he did to her. So the link is to that. So she's pretty much identifying with that and nothing else. This is what she does in life. She's not the actress anymore. She just does this as a job. That's how I feel. That, I mean, she's not even disguising this. It's so obvious. So she says she allegedly says that he forced her to perform unpaid labor. Okay, this one is funny. Includes serving and preparing food for and his guests, cleaning his apartment, consulting on his album, providing uncredited backup vocals. There's no backup vocals in Born Villain that I remember from a female, but okay. And being offered up to his guests and bandmate or friends to spank. So like he will offer her to other people. Okay. Manson implied that because he had thrown Mrs. Bianco to the United States and provide housing, that she will own him labor and sexual intimacy. So they're making him sound like a royal douchebag monster, right? I think what's happening is that he brought her here. Yes, that's not human trafficking. He brought her here because he has the money to do that. And that's like, cool, thank you. I would just be like, nice, you want to pay for my plane ticket? You want to pay for it? Okay, cool. And then he put her in a hotel, and that probably was getting too expensive. And also they start having sex and start hanging out. So he probably was like, why are you in the hotel? Let's just like move in. So this is when she lived with him. And this is when she said that she was doing unpaid labor just because she was maybe cooking and cleaning, which is part of sometimes what you do, usually what you do. It should be what you do in a relationship. You're not going to just, I mean, even if you have a maid, you'll still pick up after yourself. So she called it unpaid labor. I will call it just pick up after herself. She called it unpaid labor, and kind of, she's not using the word slavery because she knows that word. Oh, she would just be hung in Central Park if she's using that word. But it's pretty much what she's implying to. She was doing all this unpaid labor. Do you want to get paid? You live with a guy. He's putting you on his video, supposedly. If it's not that, you're still having a free ride. So you're not paying rent, obviously, otherwise she would have said that. And you want to get paid for cooking for your boyfriend, or you want to get paid for picking up the laundry. I don't know. I think that's very bizarre. It is. Um, and the fact that he provided housing is nice that he did that. And also because they were together at the time. Why did he have her in a hotel room if they were already having an intimate relationship and it was cheaper and more practical for him to move her in? Now she wants to make it sound like she was a piece of meat and he was going around like throwing her around on people and moving her here, putting her on airplanes and stuff. No, she did all this for her career because she thought it was a really cool opportunity to work for him. That's what I really think. That's what a lot of people think. Bianco noted her role in the Phoenix Act. Oh, in California law, like expand right for domestic violence abusers. We know this. She did this with a vendor to good, which is a good thing. Phoenix Act, I'm not against it. I think that's the one good thing that they did. Yeah, and that's about it. What it's about is it gives more years for the victim. In this case, it should be men and women. They keep saying women, but it should be both. It gives you more years to report things. Instead of 3 years, now you have 8 years in California. So I think it's a great law. But it's kind of fantastic and very, very strange that they work on this together and then they both come up with these things against him. They did happen 10 years ago. So, yeah. So the unpaid labor, the human trafficking, and all that stuff, that is like to the point of stupidity to me. And who is her? Who's Esme Bianco? Besides, she's a fetish model. She was a fetish model. I mean, like, I guess when you're a model, you're always a model. She's always been skinny. She talks about starvation, and she talks about him telling her what to wear and telling her to wear high heels and latex or gloves or whatever, to wear underwear around the house all the time. I don't see that as abuse. I really don't. I think that it was a bit of a power struggle relationship, a power exchange, maybe bondage relationship that she was in with him. And I don't think that was abuse. I don't think that's abuse. So, definition of human trafficking. Human trafficking is a trade of humans for the purpose of forced labor, sexual slavery, or commercial sexual exploitation. This might encompass providing a spouse, like selling you to marriage, kind of like arranged marriage, something like that, to like sell you, which is not what he did, or destruction of the organs or tissues of the person, like human trafficking, so I can just get your kidneys out and sell them, including for surrogacy and ovary removal. This is what human trafficking is. Human trafficking can occur with a county or a country or internationally. Human trafficking is a crime against a person because of the violation of the victim's right and movement through coercion and because of the commercial exploitation. He's supposed to make money with the person if he human trafficking them. I don't know how Manson was making money out of her, right? Not alone getting her organs out, nothing like this, but how he was making money. Because this is what it says, it's with the purpose of making money. Selling the person, selling the organs, making the person work for you. Commercial sexual slavery. I think this is where she gets that. She read this and she's like, oh, well, I'm just going to put out wrote down the unpaid labor. I'm just going to make it sound like he brought me over here. Like, yeah, like he's going to get you here on a plane just to have sex with you. And to put you in a music video. Like the guy cannot grab the phone. Like Manson cannot get the phone and be like, can I have, and there's a lot of local girls that will be on his video and they will move in with him and make him food or whatever willingly. No, but he picks you. You're in the UK. You have a husband, by the way, she has a husband. And he picks you and chooses you especially for this perverse reason to bring you here to California and to make you work for free. To make you do this video that it was never done, and lie to you and make you pick up his underwear and making breakfast and I don't know, all that dark stuff that you do for a boyfriend or a girlfriend when you live with them. It's like, oh, if you make me coffee, that's unpaid labor. It makes it unpaid labor because let's say I come from Italy to here to be with a person, and then I'm here, I'm not paying rent, that person's letting me stay, so I clean up the house sometimes. That is just called common sense. That's it. So that's another thing of her that I want to touch on, that she talks about the violet wand. I should make a disclaimer before this, but I didn't. The violet wand is pretty much a sex toy. It's not a torture device. If you go to fetish.com or anywhere online, violet wand, the definition of violet wand, the uses, how to use it, how to clean it, how to use the safe, where to buy it, how much is it, all that. The violet wand just gives you a tickle and a little bit of electric tickle, like if you will get from a massager they use to massage your shoulders, or those things that you put your feet on and they move the muscles and they run with battery. That's what a violet wand does. A violet wand doesn't whip you, doesn't burn you. It's not wax you put it into a person, something like that. I mean, I will understand if she says something like that. A violet wand, violet, not violent, violet, which is the same thing that even Realtor Wood said, is just a toy that it has a little bit of vibration to it. And there's a lot of people online that are really pissed off about it because they're saying, well, now everybody that uses that is going to look like a criminal. And it is not. It is not bad. And you get the same amount of electric movement from a cosmetic procedure or from a massager that you get at the store. You put batteries on it and then you just do this to your shoulders. That's exactly a violet wand. And I think she exaggerated that a little bit. So I want to go back with that. And I don't want to talk about sex toys and stuff like that, but that's to say that if she's lying about that, then she can be lying about everything else, which I think she is. His attorney came out and said that she's doing this because they wouldn't fall for her ridiculous monetary request. Like she asked for money and he's not falling for it, which I think is great. I'll be back in a little bit.